JP McDaniel here with a very special cast from the MLG Summer Invite Online Qualifiers. Today we're covering the winner bracket finals of the tournament, and this is one interesting match with SortOf going up against Real. My co-caster for today is none other than Apollo. What do you know about these two players, Apollo?
Hey man, hey GP, good to be here. These two players, SortOf is a relatively unknown to a lot of people. Actually, he's a very young Swedish player, 18 years old, Zerg player as well. In 2011, he had a very slow year, to be honest, but in 2012, he's been getting better and better over time, most notably finishing in second place at the Esports SM, where he actually made the finals, eventually losing to Thorzane, but only narrowly with 2 wins to 3. So this guy's definitely up-and-comer, but on the other hand, Real is more of an established professional type gaming's Real here, a Korean living in Germany, has been in Germany for a while. He's always one of those players where you can look at and be like, yeah, he can do well, but he always faces really solid players. Like the last couple of tournaments, he's faced Stefano and he's faced Supernova. And these guys are, you know, superstars in their own leagues, to be honest. So Real definitely a very solid individual.
All right, well, as we jump into the first map, Daybreak here, giving a little bit of a player shout out up here in the top right-hand corner, will be Real as the red Protoss. Down in the bottom left is, of course, going to be SortOf, the rather unknown player, very new player to the MLG world down here as the blue Zerg. Now, a little bit of history about these two guys when it comes to this bracket. SortOf defeated HeyPro, Nurchio, and Roof to get to the winners bracket finals. And Real defeated Tefel, Snoot, and Daisy to get here. Now, out of those two players, which do you think really had the tougher road?
I don't know. It's relatively close, to be honest. I think everybody in the European scene is almost on equal scale at the moment. I mean, the results can go left and right, but I do like Real's results, actually, beating down 2 pretty strong Zerg players, going in strong against SortOf.
And, you know, the element of surprise here, I think, for SortOf is one that might really be in his favor, simply because I don't know how well known this guy is. Granted, both these players are from the European region, so I'm sure that they have met each other at least once or twice on the ladder. But we'll really see what happens here. It is Daybreak, so as far as PvZ goes, it's probably going to be a 3-hatch opening for the Zerg, and it's probably going to be a Forge Fast expand here for the Protoss.
Absolutely. On map 1, in such an important game, you know, winner bracket finals between these two guys, they will probably play very textbook to begin with, and then start to, in game 2 and 3, adapt, counterplay their opponent. And we already do have that style of play coming out here, that very early Nexus coming down for Real. But overall, standard so far, JP, and like you said, just ABC style of play, secondary hatchery down. Of course, third one will be to follow momentarily here.
Yeah, we've got 2 links coming out. Here's that drone which you just spoke about. Already at 300 minerals, it should be putting down the hatchery in just a matter of time. Now, in terms of where we go from here, Apollo, is it still as textbook as it used to be on this map?
Pretty much so, unless anybody wants to throw something crazy out. And that player, if anybody, is going to be Real here, especially with now that third hatchery is down. He's thrown down double gases in his main base. He will want to wall off with a cyber core, leaving a zealot space very shortly. But so far, it looks very standard. The things we have to look on is, does he get +1 attack from the Forge? Is he lining up on a ground attack? Is he getting the cyber core, and where does the chrono boost go? If the chrono boost goes into the Nexus, you know, for the next 4 or 5 cycles, then it's more likely just going to be a more standard style of play.
See the probe here in the center of the map, 1 shot away from being killed. It looks like it might recharge enough shields to be able to get back home. Not really the most important focal point, but it is going to be able to escape. Meanwhile, as we see SortOf droning up pretty hard right now, 5 drones on the way, already up to 28. And still continuing to drone. His only attacking units are those handful of lings out. Only 2 on the map right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 on the map, looking around at the top left just in case there is a pylon, and then he has another one on the Zelnaga tower. But he does have an Overlord above his opponent's natural Nexus here, looking at the Chrono Boost, looking at the Chrono Boost on the Cyber Core and Forge, and more importantly, checking out the gases. And now that Overlord's going to go on the high ground, and it's going to be in a location which the Stalker, which is coming out, is not going to be able to shoot it down. But as soon as the Overlord moves out of position, JP, we see Real actually Chrono Boosting the Cyber Core. So if he continues to Chrono Boost that, we could actually have a relatively early gateway attack.
Well, we will keep our eyes on that. The Overlord just positioning itself perfectly so it can, of course, check out those scouts. And, Real is throwing down a third Nexus, which there's really two ways that Protoss can approach a 3-base Zerg. You can either go and attack the third, forcing aggression, or you can simply expand and make him be the one that really forces the aggression, typically in the form of roaches. What do you think about this play?
This is really greedy and risky, to be honest, from Real. I mean, right now he's only got one gateway and one robo. He's trying to add on extra gateways to wall off on that third base. And right now, SortOf has to do something, because if he does not, then that wall off on the third base will establish itself up with cannons, with gateways. He knows exactly what he's playing against now, and how is he going to deal with this? He's actually droning up, taking extra gases. SortOf has two options. He either goes immediately for speed, which he's not, or he could drone up and go layer. So he's actually chosen to go layer here, and so he may actually sit back and just accept this, and he could go into Mutalist or something along those lines, but he's not doing anything early to counteract this third Nexus.
Still no speed whatsoever on these Lings, so this Stalker is doing its best to get away, most likely will. The wall off down here at the third isn't the best, but it will prevent Lings from running by south of the expansion, but it still can go north and try its best to get into that mineral line regardless. But as you mentioned, the lair going down, he's adding on his 5th and 6th gas over at this third base, and we're seeing +1 being upgraded for Real, as well as a robotics facility being thrown down, as well as a Twilight Council.
Yeah, this guy is, upgrading and teching all over the place right now, but it's very interesting to see how SortOf is going to do this. He's taking a really, really early 4th base, and he's also upgrading melee for his Zerglings here. So he's most likely just going to, he's got two options, either throw us down the Spire or the Infestation Pit. With this much gas, I'd love to see the Spire play coming into the game here, because first of all, his opponent has a very early robot, and he's gone for a Sentry Immortal expand, which is very weak against Spire play. There is an Observer, though, for Real inside the main base of SortOf, and if he finds that Spire really early on, which he's going to do, then he's actually going to be able to build the correct composition around this Spire play nice and early.
We have an Overseer of SortOf here in the main of Real, sees that something is being upgraded on that council. Not sure if it's going to be charged or blink, but probably a good idea that I think it's going to be blinking. A lot of gates being added on here for Real, putting up to a total of 8 at the moment. The Observer being quite active over in the third base of SortOf. The Overseer is going to be able to catch that pretty soon. Ling speed is finished, and we see a lot of Lings actually here at the Xel'Naga Tower, getting the easy surround onto that Zealot, and it is going to be taken out.
And it looks like Real is sorting to plan an attack alongside a Warp Prism here. He'll ideally want to get +2 attack out from the Forge as fast as possible, and then try to hit the Zerg before he gets up to a critical mass of Stalker. I mean, a critical mass of Mutalists, where they really, really do become strong. This is going to be a very interesting style of play, because SortOf has got a counterattack, he's got flanks available, and he has so much gas in the bank.
Now, SortOf went into that third, did not see any units, and then found the army advancing forward over here. I also got to mention great Overlord placement from the Zerg player, really scouting out the paths of entries that the army of Real could take, and he sees it down here in the south and pulls back with those Lings. There's the Warp Prism, kind of the mobile forward pylon, and a huge Warp In coming down. This 4th base might as well be sacked right now. I'm not sure how he's going to save this. He's got 30 Lings coming in, as well as 11 Mutas about to pop.
Yeah, I don't think he can take this army fight right now, but soon he will be able to, for sure.
Uh-oh, and here comes the Zerg player. Force field being dropped on the bottom of the ramp, but he's doing a pretty good job against Real's forces. So many Mutalisks here. The force field's doing great, though, against the Lings, and it does force SortOf to fall back and wait for more reinforcements from those hatcheries. The Ling's about halfway complete at the moment, but he has so many mutas, I'm not sure if it's worth going in. He gets one of the sentries, only one remains. He snipes that. Now drones are coming into play here as more Lings pop. He's going to go in and get the Warp Prism, doing his best to do so, and it falls finally.
Yeah, really great attack here. Decision pulling drones, because Stalkers are terrible versus drones, and now he has enough Lings to clear every single Stalker down, but there is a pylon that somehow got into mix. Zealots coming to deal with the drones and Lings, but I think it may be a little bit too late now, with the Mutalists just tearing down absolutely everything, and SortOf has pulled off an amazing hold here.
Yeah, it really, really is an amazing hold, because if you look over here at the 4th base, took a couple of drone hits, but it's nice and dandy back to mining, and he's also got a 5th base coming up here over at the 11 o'clock position. Supply-wise, 129 to 82. Real's not really saturated at his third, hasn't even taken his 2 gases, and we see 4 cannons coming down right now. He's very, very fearful of those mutas.
Absolutely, he's on the back foot right now, and SortOf knows that. He has a second evolution chamber coming to go into +2 melee. He has a Baneling Nest as well, and will start to spread his gas out, ready to build Banelings in case of another counterattack. But right now, SortOf is going to try and look for options to do damage before his opponent can build up another army of the same size.
And he is going to deal a huge amount of damage here. Only one cannon was really the only counter to these mutas down at the third, but the Blink Stalkers have come in and forced those mutas out, but not without losing a huge amount of probes. No mining being done from this third Nexus, and SortOf is just taking the entire map.
Yeah, and you know, he's with a 5th base and a 5th set of gases. He can even go Infestation Pit and ready to go Hive and so on. He actually has Roach Speed on the way for a nice little switchover in case the Storm and Archon's coming, but there is not. He doesn't have any probes on the 3rd base. He doesn't have gas. There is no way he can afford to go over the Storm, and he's going to have to rely on Gateway units alone. Maybe if he gets out +3 attack and Chrono Boost it and goes for another timing, it could work, but with Banelings being morphed now, this is looking pretty tough.
Yeah, here are the Banelings at the top of the hill. Blink being used to blink towards the oh no, it's going to be able to connect. Well, actually the Lings are kind of buffering there so that he could not connect, and Blink is now up. He's going to be able to blink away there. Not that much damage done by Real, losing a big chunk of his army there, and SortOf only really losing Lings and Banelings.
Yeah, and look at the supply count. Basically 200 versus only 100 now, and he's going to come in for the last final attack now. He's completely outplayed his opponent Real here, who is slipping up, who is not making the right movements, the right army composition, and SortOf will absolutely steamroll him now.
Yeah, he's waltzing right in, going to take out the Forge, getting that +3, and the remaining units. GG any moment here. Some more units being warped in on the high ground, but not even being moved in to attack. And I gotta say, I am very, very impressed with this Zerg player.
Yeah, SortOf's had a great game here, and he has beaten his opponent 1-0 on Daybreak. A great display of Muta-Ling style against an opponent who took a very, very greedily fast 3rd base.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is game 1. Game 2 is going to be on Entombed Valley. Make sure to check out the next game in this series right here at MLG.tv.